This podcast is rated R for restricted. Under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian. Mission to
Guys, this week we are watching Killers of the Flower Moon. It is the 8th movie of the Best Picture list that we've watched so far. So we're getting pretty good at, being able to judge how good 2023 was.
I feel pretty good about it.
I feel pretty good. I feel judgy.
Yeah.
I feel ready to judge.
I feel judgy.
For
sure.
I'm ready to say some stuff is all I'm going to say. So we're going to do the thing we are now doing,
the lightning
which is
round.
10 or 15 seconds lightning round review. And then it's TC's turn to go first, and we'll get into he'll start us off on the deeper dive thoughts.
Yep.
So let's start with John. 10 or 15 seconds. Time yourself.
Okay.
There you go.
This is a really compelling story. It has some really good set pieces, some good acting, some really good abrupt violence that we expect from Scorsese. God, I'm tired. But the problem, I don't feel like the movie is very cohesive, and I don't feel like these characters are really developed. And there's a lot of the movie itself doesn't hold together very well, and there's a very odd turn at the very end that is.
This is longer than 15 seconds.
20 seconds. Denny. Go.
I sound like I agree with John. This movie could have been so interesting. Looking up the real story, it is an extremely interesting story. And I think at the character level, the movie failed really bad to the point where I was really bored and confused for the entire 3.5 hours.
Good.
All right. Well, I'm glad that didn't go first because, that's exactly where I'm at. The 3.5 hours, I actually was engaged. I will say that I think that it was a well-crafted movie. It was a well-crafted, production value, and I think that the characters could have been fleshed out. I just think there was a lot of them, which led me confused for a lot of the movie.
Yep.
And
then continue on, TC. You can just keep on talking now.
So I will say that that Scorsese has mastered the camera moves. I mean, there is just so much camera movement throughout this film that I think I found myself being more impressed at than being lost in the story with. But he really does a great job. I'll give him credit he does a great job on just revealing things within time, and you have to sort of wait till the camera gets there to fully reveal certain things, and that's a great tool. But I do think that sometimes I was more in awe of it than I was sort of enthralled in the story by it.
Yeah, it's almost like these were vignettes, right? Almost like each little segment you could be in there and be there with it and be impressed by it. But then you move on to the next thing.
And I think it was that I found myself confused a lot, and it was funny because my girlfriend wasn't confused, and she was like,
"Really?
I don't know why you're having so much trouble with this." And I'm like, "What do you mean? What just happened? What am I what are we supposed to be? Where are we going?" And then
there was that one scene where the random
with
dude gets shot in the back of the head, and we don't know who the bad guys are or the guy getting shot, and then it shows it and then cuts away and doesn't talk about it. I'm like, what the fuck was that? And they don't talk about it for 20 minutes.
And I think that this is what they were trying to go for, maybe. I don't know. It was I wasn't sure which side I was on. I wasn't sure who our main character was, and I wasn't sure which ones I'm supposed to be rooting for or not.
Yep.
I figured out pretty quickly that Robert De Niro was the bad guy, but I wasn't
good observational skills there.
I wasn't sure, whether or not Leonardo DiCaprio was just dumb or if he was really a part of the problem.
Did you figure it out by the end, TC?
Right.
Did you figure that question out?
I did.
Did you? Because I'm not sure I did.
Kind of.
No, I think he was just dumb. He was
Really?
just dumb. Yeah,
No.
I think he's just dumb.
I think you know what I'd say.
scared.
Maybe that's it. But this I think is the fucking the problem is this is sort of almost documentary style in the sense of you just see these characters acting and reacting, and that's all they do. We don't develop them. We don't understand them. We don't understand their motives. They just do things or they react to the things that were done, and that's it. And so you don't know who they are. You don't know why they're doing the things they're doing.
Also, did you guys think that the female lead there was not as dumb as she was made? I feel like she was paying attention the entire time, and she seemed to be understanding what was going on. But then, she didn't understand what was going on. And I was I was confused by that.
Yep.
No, again, she was not given anything to do.
I just think it was a bad editing, bad story. she came out to be smart, but then she falls in love with this guy. Like the part of the biggest problem with the movie is the scene where they fall in love in the back of the taxi cab or whatever. Whenever the hell that happens, whenever they fall in love, that wasn't on screen, and the movie assumes that you think that. But the entire movie, I'm like, I don't understand why he's with her, why she's with him. I don't understand any of this main relationship in this movie.
Yeah. But that's like, that happens over and over again. I feel like you don't understand the motivations. You don't understand, like even like another case where like his kid dies and he's distraught. Again, Leo acts it really well.
This is like Leo's worst thing ever. He's ever done.
I've ever seen.
Fine. All right. Okay. Fine. Okay. Let's set that aside. But the point being is, at no point did I even have any idea that
I didn't know he
cared
had
about
that many
his
kids
until that.
Like, oh, he had kids,
Well,
right?
And so like, but that's what I mean, right? So in the whole time, we're led to think that he's supposed to be involved with the headrights situation and being like aware of it. But then like when the guy's clearly lying to him and manipulating to him, and he's having issues, and like, he walks up to him and says, "You're gonna," when he says you're gonna be arrested, you know, like, you have good lawyers, like, none of this is clicking. You know what I mean? Like, and that's when I realized, like, I think he's just dumb, but I wasn't sure. And then, you know, as far as she was concerned, she didn't seem dumb, and then at the end, they had some dialogue. Yeah, no, and then she had dialogue where it made it seem like she wasn't aware of what was going on. But it's like, how could you not be? There was so many things going wrong. All of your family members are dying. Like, there is something going on here, right?
Right.
But it was like that didn't really occur to her, maybe because she was so sick. I guess you could play it like she was so sick that she wasn't really paying attention. But then they had that weird little dialogue at the end where she's like, "How long were you doing this?" Right? Giving her heroin. Yeah, so it's like she did know.
Right. Like,
so I don't know. Right. You know, it was confusing.
But even that was like, that was even so weird, because it's like, all right, he killed your family. He assisted in killing all your family. You're pretty upset just because the main thing you're focusing on is whether he was poisoning you or not. But I mean, this is already so fucked up. It's like, I mean, it just seems so like absurd to be like, oh yeah, but I'm really want to know whether you were poisoning me or not. This guy's fucking sociopath.
Him and his buddy here have killed entire families.
Yeah,
and taking their land.
So now you're really right. So now you just want to know. You want to know because it's important to me whether you wanted to poison me. But what's
also confusing in this movie too is like
really
there was a period of time towards the end where he was really distraught about his wife, and I was like, oh, like he really does love her. Like there was like a 2-minute moment in the movie where I was like, I forgot what he had been doing, and I was like, he really does love her. The movie's showing me this now, but then it reminds you immediately afterwards that he was slowly poisoning her to death, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Right, but then it comes back to him being dumb, because it's like, does he know that he's giving her heroin, and he doesn't, because he doesn't. They tell him like he's just gullible.
Was it heroin?
Because they're like, it's just gonna slow her down. No, it's just gonna slow her down. They kept saying it's just gonna slow her down. That was the heroin.
Right.
So does he think the sickness is the diabetes and not the heroin? Is that what you think? He thinks?
I don't think he understood when they're saying it's gonna slow her down that they were giving her heroin. You know, and then it's like, is he just dumb? And that's when you get back to. I don't know.
But they really don't. They don't tell you. They don't let you understand who he is.
Not even. There's 3.5 hours in this movie. We don't know who any of these people are. That is ridiculous.
So that wasn't just me then. I wasn't just lost there.
No, you were not. And the reason we were lost is because this movie does not really let you. It does not seem to care about who the characters really are. It's just like, oh, this happened and this happened and this happened, and they just play through that. So you don't know. I guess you can assume he's dumb. But it still is like, even the movie doesn't even bother to explore and let you understand his...
Or to give you enough evidence to really feel comfortable with that conclusion, because it doesn't, and I just feel confused about everything.
And then there were so many people to keep track of. Blackie, this guy, the other guy, who shot who, fair. When did they shoot him, who was involved, And then, like, they had some cool things where they set up, like, where the De Niro character was setting up everybody. That was a kind of a cool segment, I thought. And my favorite part of the entire thing was the ending when they were reading the, it's like the old time radio. I thought it was like kind of cool that they like were able to act it all out, because that's probably what they did back then. But again, those things are so irrelevant to the story. Because it's like they wrapped it all up in a bow because it made no sense otherwise. So you had to like be told from the beginning again. But
Right. No, you're exactly right, TC. That like it did wrap it up in a way, but there was no coherency to that happening.
No.
Like they didn't foreshadow
No,
any of that
no.
shit happening, right? All of a sudden, it was like total
No,
right
it
turn.
was Scorsese just being
I
like,
didn't-
"Hey, look at this with a cool
Right.
idea of like, you
Yeah,
know, yeah,
right, right.
absolutely. I'm gonna get up there and I'm gonna read because I'm Scorsese.
I'm 81. I
you
can do
know?
whatever I
Right.
want.
I know, right? And he can.
He does.
If you see these things as like vignettes, if you see these sections by themselves, they're pretty cool. But overall, like looking at the overall
This sounds like your
movie,
criticism of The Irishman.
It's like
Isn't that your
chaos.
criticism there too?
Yeah.
Where it's like, it
I
looks
think so.
good,
It's
the
like,
acting is okay, but there's no cohesion, and I
Right.
don't know the characters.
Right. I would say The Irishman I like better in the sense that I felt like, at least with Joe Pesci, there was so much malice in his character. He felt real. He felt like a terrifying guy. And De Niro does not like think about like No Country for Old Men or There Will Be Blood. These characters, like De Niro had an opportunity to play a real villain, and I don't get that. I don't get anything. It's like De Niro with a different accent than he usually does. I don't get that there's this real villain here
He was
on
really
screen.
bad
He's
in
just
this
doing
movie.
some
I thought
things.
everybody was bad in this movie. I don't know how it got so many. De
Well,
Niro
I mean,
and
you got to admit that it is very similar to his other movies because it just felt like a mobster movie. It felt like Goodfellas, but it was with Native Americans and dumb
Yeah.
Americans.
Totally.
So like
Yeah,
it had all
kinda.
those elements, and I kept thinking that today. Like, okay, like let's look at this from a critical way. Like, how does this make, why is this accessible? Why do people like it? And I was trying to think of those things, and I'm like, oh, because the structure is exactly like Goodfellas, or it's even like The Departed, right? Where
Maybe.
they've got a guy infiltrating from the inside, right? Or they've got the FBI investigating
right.
from the outside.
Yeah.
It's like. It's very
But those
much
are kind of
something
just-
he's done him before, but it's got that element, and that's what people like.
It's
that
lacking
crime
the
element.
But there's something in those movies that carries you along better than this movie does. Like there's something
Yeah, like good
missing in
acting,
this one.
good story,
The story,
like what
right.
story?
There's no
well, so
hook.
I will.
What's the hook
Here's another
to this movie?
perspective.
No.
Here's another perspective because my girlfriend has Native American heritage, so I think there is an assumption of an understanding of history that I don't have, even though I should.
I don't
So
either.
like. But
mean,
there was so
I
like
don't-
she knew what was happening before it even happened. She's like, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen. They're going to steal the land slowly from the Native Americans because that's every story from our history, right? And
Right.
like, I don't even know if I was like, I couldn't tell you honestly if that's true or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, she didn't have any problem understanding this, and I was kind of lost all the way through.
If you have the opportunity to tell this story to people who don't know it, then you should take the opportunity, especially if, you have 4 hours to do it
Fair.
and $200 million to do it, right?
Right.
Fair.
I would think.
I
don't
understand
know.
the gist. I understand the gist of what happens. I don't understand the characters at all.
And I think maybe that characters in this for some reason are not the point.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
No, because it's like almost a documentary,
yeah, journalism.
right? But it's a documentary with these amazing actors normally, often, even Leo I will give, right? And these amazing settings. You expect some character development in these movies. Again, think of There Will Be Blood or No Country for Old Men. You get a sense of these as real people doing things. You get a sense of their motivations, of why they're doing things. This movie really did not do that.
Why didn't he go home? Like they're like he's a vet, but they don't touch on that beyond the fact that they say it once in the movie.
It
and then
feels
they move
like
on.
the script was not like nobody ever like looked at the script as a whole to say like how cohesive is this? like
Well, they rewrote it because of Leo.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can thank Leo for that.
Oh, good, thanks.
So there's a
Thank
book.
you, Leo.
The book is apparently really good, and like George Clooney wanted to buy the rights to it too, and it sold for like $5 million because
Oh, wow.
it's going to make a good freaking movie. But the book is mostly about the FBI investigation, and they got a bunch of people signed on. Leo was signed on. He read the script, and he was like, this movie is mostly about the white people, and we should make it about the Native Americans instead. Which by itself is a fine thought, but hey, if there's no interesting story to tell, like they obviously didn't have really one because their perspective is
But who
boring
are
and
the main
confusing.
characters of this film? It's Leo and De Niro. It's not. It's still
still
about
kind
the
of
white
about
people.
The FBI. Yeah, it's about the killings, really.
Right. It's about the bad guys, not the FBI. But it's still
And
about
they
the
do
white
show
people.
the killings, and they show you these caricatures of people, but none of the It's not like they do Native Americans justice by showing them as
No.
like real human beings. They just show. Nobody's a real human being in this movie. They're
Exactly.
just like weird, thin caricatures of like the puzzle piece that they fit for the,
Right.
quick Spark Notes version of the book, maybe.
Right, and I read the book, and the book is more of it's like a true crime. It's like a in cold blood. It's just more. This is what happened. Here's what this person did. Here's what this person did, and it's a compelling story. And even this movie was compelling in the sense of wanting to know what happened, knowing that this was so horrifying. I was pretty engaged with it, despite, like you said, TC. Too, you were right.
I was
like you still were still engaged.
I kept finding
with it,
myself being like, "Wait, why am I confused?" So I was actively watching, right? Because I had to keep asking, "Why am I confused?" So, I totally agree there. We watched it 3.5 hours later. We're not exactly sure what happened.
Yeah.
So
The most confusing part about it, the whole movie was confusing, and then I was extra confused at the end, being like, they had a lot of time for this to make sense and for me to care about the characters, and they didn't do any of it. So what were they doing?
Right.
Like, some of the sets were nice looking.
They were great.
The extras were impressive. The cinematography, most of the time,
coordination of it all.
Yeah.
pretty
cool. They're showing that off, but
I know.
they do that a lot. But I mean, most of the scenes are like kind of intimate dialogue scenes that don't do anything.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of scenes between Leo and Lily that I don't get literally anything out of.
Well, she was very.
Right.
She was flat. I mean, she was. She didn't emote much.
Best actress nominee there. She wasn't bad. She was the least bad of everyone.
Well, I don't know what else she could do. What
could
she do?
She was uninterested for the first half, and then she was sick and sweating the second half, and that was it.
And sad because different
Wow,
people
that
kept
really
dying in her
reduced it
family.
down to nothing, huh, Denny?
That's what it was. It's better than
what
Leo,
else-
where
what
he
else-
just did a bad accent the entire movie.
Right. What else?
Right.
Could
His stupid
and
face.
also,
Yeah.
Leo, his frown face. Oh my God, his frown face was ridiculous.
And he was purposely hunched over for some reason, right? It seemed like he was trying to make himself ugly or something. Like, I don't know what the hell he was doing. Yet he called himself attractive in the movie. Like, there's so many weird things of, like, his character said he was attractive. He's getting this woman as if he is attractive, but he's fat and he's hunched over.
He's weird
Like,
looking.
What?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to think here?
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
So $200 million.
Was it really $200 million?
Yeah,
Wow.
it is the highest budget R-rated movie of all time. Highest.
But
budget.
I mean, it had that.
Yep.
It had that, dude. You could tell it had the high value.
You could.
That train station scene was awesome.
Yep.
The set pieces were incredible.
You could tell a lot of it was real.
Yeah, that was, or them showing like the oil fields.
That
and,
was CG.
And everything.
That did not look that good.
But it was all right.
Eh.
But I did love, like, when Leo first arrives and he's at the train station and the crowds are there. That was awesome. It was a really good set piece. Or even like the funeral wake. Although like as the camera's going through and you're seeing all the sets and stuff and you're seeing the things that are happening. I mean, again. It still feels weird because they like have this contrived, the old couple are there like, oh, they're just savages. It feels badly edited.
Yeah, that was
right
dumb.
at the same time, right? It feels like it's jarring, but it's almost there, like with this whole like the camera flowing through the wake and stuff. That's awesome.
Dude,
As
it
you
was
said,
great.
TC.
The movement,
right? Great
Camera
camera
moves.
work. But then it doesn't like add up. It doesn't like add up across the scenes and stuff like that.
I mean, I think that's what happens when you have too many characters to manage, and not
Also a three, like, you can't make a tight edit. You can't plan for an edit for a 3.5 hour long movie. Nobody does that, right? Like, if you have an hour and a half or 2 hours, you can maybe plan all the edits to like work together. But 3.5 hours, like, who does that? No one makes a movie that long.
Yeah.
No one's used to it.
But again, if your script isn't coherent, or there's like, it seems like they were like, oh, it's not going to be about the FBI. It's going to be about this. Maybe they're winging it, right? But again, taking, like, if you like take different pieces of it, there's again still very impressive things. The sudden violence scenes were shocking and good.
I didn't like them. The scenes literally stand alone. They were decently done, but the way they were put into the movie, I didn't like it because it was in between super slow parts and then a super fast violent thing happened, and then another really super slow part happened for a long period of time after that. And I'm just like, I'm going to forget about this other thing because we're talking in the kitchen now for 25 minutes.
Right. It's like Saturday Night Live. It's like you have these just separate skits, right?
Yep.
It's like,
I don't like when I watch a movie and I'm literally sitting there being like, nothing I'm watching now makes sense. Nothing that happened in the past makes sense. How much of this do I have to remember? Like, what part's going to come back where it's going to finally start making sense to me? And sometimes it came back, sometimes it didn't. And it was basically like, for such a slow, meandering movie, it was like hard to watch.
Right.
Like I had an unpleasant, difficult
the
time watching this
interrogation
movie.
scenes got so slow when it got to interrogating him once he was like brought in.
Those
my
were
God.
such bad scenes.
It
I really
went
didn't like those.
really slow
Yeah.
too. It was
and the way it
molasses
looked
at that
was
point.
terrible. The lighting was like way too hard. His clothing, the lighting was so hard, his clothing looked fake. It's like where did all the money go all of a sudden? And like also when he was like on trial, some of the trial shots were just like, how do you fuck
Not
this
good.
up?
Like I love Brandon Fraser, but he was not served well.
Oh my
in this
God,
sense
John
where-
Lithgow,
yeah.
get out of there! Get the
I
hell
know,
out
I
of
know.
there!
It-
Fucking
it was
their,
not
3
their
hours in the
parts were
movie.
so irrelevant. Yeah, and they
Yeah.
came in
Right,
out of
right.
nowhere and
So
like
distracting.
for-
Right, right.
I know. And he must have been in
Jesse
the middle
Plemons,
of that.
however,
He must have been in the middle of that other movie, right? The one
the
where
whale. No,
the
he
whale?
just
Yeah, maybe
got
so, yeah.
He's
a
like
nomin-
slimming down a little from that.
Well,
And
he had some
even,
makeup
like-
on for the whale,
Oh,
but he's
okay.
quite
Yeah.
large.
Yeah, he was.
But I thought the best part of the movie was when Jesse Plemons came on screen.
Oh, yeah?
Seriously, 2 hours into the movie, Jesse Plemons popped in, and the next 10 minutes where they're doing like the FBI montage stuff, I was like, holy shit, is this movie about to tighten up and like about
And
to have some
actually be
direction here?
something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
But
I
then
gotcha,
it was
I
good
gotcha.
for 10 minutes, and then it went back to meandering nonsense.
Right. He said, and
It
even
was-
Jesse doesn't get anything to do with this. I mean, it's like at first you think this is
I
going
don't
to
know.
work.
I thought he added some weight. I don't know if like the dialogue or the editing was better in those parts, but
No. Comparatively speaking, and maybe it's not a coincidence that originally that's what the script was all about, his character. Right.
well,
The
he
script
basically
was
comes
all
in
about-
and says, "Hey,
all about the
enough of this
FBI.
bullshit. Like we're watching this
Right.
slow meandering movie for 2 hours." He's like, "Enough of this bullshit."
I'm
And then the
gonna
movie
organize
becomes
this
tightly
shit.
edited for 10 minutes, and I'm like, "Yes, Jesse Plemons to the rescue."
Yeah, right. I don't
He's
know.
fixing
Man,
everything. His character is so good. He's fixing the edit.
It's
He's
better,
just a
but
good actor, so you don't have to edit him. You know, he just does it
is
right.
good, but,
Yeah.
but even he doesn't get much to do eventually. That wears off. I
really wish
agree.
it hopped to that story. I was really
Yeah.
hoping it was going to stay there.
I know,
'cause-
but it wears off too, where
Yep.
he becomes irrelevant pretty quickly in an annoying way.
Yeah, I know.
he just like hangs around and then it like
Yeah.
randomly picks up DiCaprio when he's drunk.
No,
Right.
his
knows
part
what he's doing behind
his
the
part
scenes.
basically
It seems like-
ends in the prison when he tells him that his daughter died. That was pretty basic.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he was like, "Okay, we don't need him anymore." I was like, what?
Well, then
you
they
know.
showed him when him and his wife were talking to each other. They don't show he's in the room until like the last shot, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Jesse Plemons was in here for this conversation." You're like, "Why the fuck does
Where?
that matter? I don't care
Yeah.
about that."
right.
Right.
And then
Well, good
that's like the
times.
last shot of the movie before it cuts to that radio show thing, which was extremely jarring. I really didn't like that. That was kind of one of the most
A little cheat.
directors getting their hands like
Yeah.
in there
Wait,
and being
wait.
like, "I made this. Look at this. I'm
Which
Hitchcock."
one? Which
Oh.
one again? Sorry.
The last
what?
scene where
ending.
it's like the
The
radio
ending.
show where it explains everything to you.
Oh, I know. No.
And then friggin' Scorsese comes on there himself to get the last lines. Like, fuck you.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it's kind of cool, right? I mean, you got to figure that's like that's your whole deal, right? Like, you're right. I made this. You know, he's Scorsese.
Right,
I mean,
right,
you know,
right.
you can't really fuck
Sure.
with him.
I'm
It's
old.
tough.
I've done a lot. Right.
Right.
Taken by itself,
Right.
it's kind of interesting the way they show how the sound effects are made and so
If
on.
it-
That was
But-
cool.
else
That's
other
what I
times.
liked
Right.
about it, John.
I-
It was just
I
like
agree, that
watching
was
the
cool.
I
live,
agree.
you know.
But it's the same
orchestration.
fucking thing. You take it as like a segment by itself, removed from the rest of the movie, and it's interesting. But you take it in the whole of the movie, and it's chaos. It makes no sense. It seems to almost it makes fun of the rest of the movie, which is annoying when you look at it in the context of the rest of the movie.
Well, and then you
Think
realize
about like
that the whole
compare
movie,
this to
the whole movie was spawned by the obituary, is what it seemed like. It was like, oh
Sure,
wow, so this
but-
whole
but-
story was
okay,
based
okay.
on an obituary,
Right.
essentially.
Okay, but if you want to have a fucking coherent script, then foreshadow that, like let you know, right?
Yeah.
That,
But you don't
like-
even need
like
that,
bring
John.
that in.
Think about the Black Klansman, where that movie had kind of a jarring ending too, where it started showing like
Right.
it turned into a documentary.
Sure,
but that
sure.
worked because the movie was about what was happening in reality from the footage that they're showing.
Right.
So it kind of
Right.
merged into
It-
that.
It did work. This is like completely.
So it's
like,
possible to do this, is what I'm
right.
saying. You can
it is.
add a weird thing
totally.
at the end.
You can, but as long as it's coherent, this is like a completely different thing. It's entirely again like a.
I'd rather
Saturday
have
Night
just
Live
title
skit.
cards, just black.
Right. Yeah.
Black background
Right.
with white text just to
But
explain it
even
to us.
I
Like, I'd
would
rather
say,
just
like,
have that.
Just let me
I would
read
even
it.
say,
I-
like,
I don't-
Yeah. It's been 3.5 hours. I'm fucking tired of it. Come on, just let me read it.
I felt like even the introduction was weird. Like the beginning of the movie where they struck oil because they're burying a pipe.
I didn't understand that's what happens.
And I know.
Oh,
and then all
really?
of a sudden,
I had to read that. Did you guys read the Wikipedia as you watched this?
No.
I did, and
No.
what I thought was going on did not match up with the Wikipedia page. John, sorry, keep talking. I'm going to pull up the Wikipedia page.
No, it's okay. I was just saying that it was so odd that they bury this pipe and then all of a sudden the Native Americans are dancing in oil. That was weird. Like it just did. And then you have these title cards about all of the things. Again, what the movie is trying to do is give you the sense of place and how they got rich and how it's weird, but it didn't feel very coherent. It felt odd the way they set up the stage and they set up the scene. I mean, they want to give you all this background really quickly, but it felt, I don't know, clunky. I don't know what else to say with the title cards and showing the different things that were happening, which was again very different than when you get to Leo in the train station and all of a sudden we're in a really good movie. We're in like a really good high budget Hollywood production movie in this one bit, and then we move to other bits, and it's like almost like it's a different thing. It doesn't feel like it's all like coherent at all.
Couldn't agree more.
There you go. I think we drove that point home. What do we got on the Wikipedia?
The Wikipedia. So now that I've seen it and read the Wikipedia, maybe it makes more sense. But Osage Nation elders bury a ceremonial pipe, mourning their descendants' assimilation into the white American society. Wandering through their Oklahoma reservation during the annual flower moon phenomenon of fields of blooms, several Osage find oil gushing from the ground. They just find it gushing from the ground.
Yeah, and does oil do that where it just like blows up through the?
I don't know.
That was my first question in my head. It was like, does oil actually just blow up like that? I don't know.
The tribe becomes wealthy as it retains mineral rights, and members share in oil lease revenues through laws required white court-appointed legal guardians to manage the money of full and half-blood members, assuming they're competent. Long story short, I didn't understand that that's what happens in that beginning part.
Well, you and me both.
I could be a dummy.
I think that might be part of it for me. Yeah, I was like, I just ignored this part of history class, unfortunately. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad. I never paid attention in history class.
Yeah, not at all. I know.
I mean,
and I was like, is this part of the
truth-
problem?
yeah.
Is this what they're trying to say to me in the movie? Is that that what the movie about? But no, that wasn't what.
No, this movie actually is like there's a great website, History versus Hollywood, where there's an article by Kevin Lang, Killers of Flower Moon. It's pretty cool. But actually, as far as a Scorsese movie goes, compared to like The Irishman, this movie is pretty damn accurate. I mean, two things that didn't happen where Leo wasn't, his character wasn't actually a vet, and she never went to Washington, the main character. That never happened. But otherwise, like, it's pretty damn historically accurate.
One other thing that was pretty far off was that one other thing that happened was it was hundreds of people that were involved in the cover-up and the murders of the Native Americans. And in this movie, it was like a gang of like 8 people.
No, this was just, this was a slice. This was just an example of some of the things that were going on, right?
For Molly's character, for this actual person
right.
who was a real person, the murder is going on there. There were hundreds of people involved.
Oh, really? Okay. So even then,
covering up that.
Even then, it was like a broader,
Yeah, and one thing. So I mean, at the end, they both got pardoned. Basically, like the father, the De Niro character, was put in jail, but then apparently bought his way out. And then they didn't talk about it, but the Leonardo DiCaprio character had a life sentence, but then was pardoned and then left. So it's like, how many people do you need to know to be able to get away with murder? Like that?
If you're white and you get
I think it was
money,
just a given
whatever.
at that point.
Yeah. Pretty fucked up. And there's a lot to say about that, but the movie
didn't
for as
say
long
that.
as it is, right? For as long as it is, and for how much it could have said about it, it doesn't say.
So
barely.
like we're thinking it through and being like, it should be doing, and then like it did not do that, right? So it's I don't know. It had the chance for $200 million. That's a lot of money.
No, right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of upsetting. Like,
but you know what happens? I think too with $200 million, too many cooks. A lot of people got money at stake in that, so there's a lot of opinions.
Right.
So
also, maybe,
what happened
it's odd you say that, TC, but also maybe too many yes men. I don't think there's many people telling Marty no.
No, right, exactly. Not the guy, not the studio people. They don't,
Yeah. So
They're all circle jerking around
plus-
him, you know.
Leo cost $30 million for this movie, the highest paycheck he's ever got.
Fuck up. Fuck
$30
you.
million.
He doesn't deserve 30 mil.
I hope he never gets paid again after this fucking movie.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Guy never has to work again. That's crazy.
Yeah.
They better win some fucking awards.
Once
they better not. I'll be pissed if
maybe.
they do.
I hope not. Once I started to notice his stupid frown, it was almost comical. His stupid, he's like little frowny guy over there.
At one point, De Niro and him were both making the same face.
Right. It's a stupid frowny face.
Yeah. I was like, you think they practiced this together?
It's such a lost opportunity to try to like these are some really evil fucking people, to really like portray them as characters that could be fascinating. And instead, it's nothing.
It's
nothing.
the same idea for the mobster movies he's made. You know, like he's teetering on the edge of showing what they were like and also glorifying them. You know, so
you're TC, you're hitting on why I hate Scorsese all along. Thank you. You've done it.
Yeah.
I don't have to say it.
Yeah, there you go, John. That one was just for you.
I love you.
Oh, shit.
One of my notes. Why does she like Leo? He's fat, a slob, lazy, idiot. What?
Why? He's
Why?
driving her around. I know he's got some blue eyes, I guess. It's
That's
nice.
true.
Yeah.
I don't get it. All right, what else we got? I got a little bit of trivia, but I'm going to go through my notes here really quick. They could have done some interesting stuff with diabetes. I don't understand why the Molly character was one of the very few people that had insulin for the first time. Like, she might have had some money, but she's not
she could afford it.
She's not like famous or anything, right?
No,
at
but
least if she was.
but
Like,
the
I
guy
didn't-
was, De Niro.
Well, the
Niro had
idea
the-
that
had
you
the
think he got it for her?
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's the one that
See, I
was
didn't get
getting
that.
them. He was the one that was getting them the insulin.
I didn't get that. Should I have
But
gotten that?
they also had ridiculous amounts of money.
That's why it was acceptable that they were giving her heroin next, because he was already taking the insulin from his uncle. So when his uncle was like, "Hey, you should add this in," he was like, "Okay." And that's when I thought that he was dumb.
How did you know? How did you know it was heroin? I had no idea that what the additional thing they were giving her.
At the end, the doctor, when they actually take her to the hospital that is the real hospital with the real doctors, the first thing he says is, "I'm going to need some heroin," and that's because she's going through withdrawal.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's going through withdrawal.
Didn't get that.
No.
Yeah. So that's when I ended up with him being dumb again. You see what I mean? Like, then I was like, okay, so he's just dumb and gullible.
Right.
and
But I
believes
would get
his
so
uncle, but-
confused because it's like, well, he seems like as the pieces are falling into place, he's done his own murdering himself. Leo's character has. Like, he helped kill the detective.
Oh, he's a lying sack of shit. That's why I don't understand
I-
why
I-
he's like
I know, right,
confused
right.
by the way.
But why
it all
does he
ends
have
up.
to go like? Why does he have to go and like strong arm other people to do the killing in other situations?
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to do it himself because he's clearly done that. So the movie makes a big deal about he's trying to pressure other people to do some killing he doesn't want to do because he doesn't want to get involved, but he's already been actively involved in killing people.
Right.
It's fucking confusing.
Makes no sense.
Right? Yeah. It's just.
And then there's the scene where the old woman is dying, and then there's an owl that walks in, and then it turns into
I
like
like
a weird
that.
dream sequence.
That
for a
was
while.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like it when I'm not grounded, and then it does weird shit like that. I'm like, I'm even more ungrounded now. Thanks a lot, movie.
Guess so. What I liked is that's just trying to show the Native Americans' perspective. Like, this is their beliefs. This is the way they operate. That was kind of interesting.
Oh,
At least it was new,
and my girlfriend
right?
knew immediately. She was like, "Oh, that represents death," and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay."
Okay.
I mean, I got
So
that,
small.
but it didn't fit. I feel like if you could watch a movie and just appreciate scene by scene what was going on, you might have really enjoyed this movie.
It's Saturday Night Live sketches. I'm telling you, they're vignettes. you just like carve them out separately, and you appreciate them for what they are. But they're just not adding up to anything so for whatever reason.
What do you think would happen if we split out all the scenes, rearranged them, and then put them back together? Would the movie be the same?
Well, you could argue that if somebody maybe if you completely if you
the same.
Yeah, I like that.
Then we're correct.
Right.
Yeah, you could take this. That should be your review. You could take this movie, make it different, and it would be the same movie.
Maybe, or it could be better. Like if there was some,
It
editing,
could be
like,
better, yeah.
like, right. Yeah, like the scenes, so Jason Isbell is in this as the Bill character, and he was good. And there that like Leonardo and Bill have a scene that I liked where Leo's talking about how he doesn't like him, and there was like this scene where they're sitting there. He's like, "I just don't like you." I thought that was a good scene, but I have no understanding of their characters. I have no sense of Leo being like confident in anything because I thought he was just fucking stupid. So this is weird to see him standing up for himself.
Yeah,
that scene is good, but
But
it
that other
has no
character
context.
doesn't really matter for the rest of the story, right? You could have edited that scene out, no problem.
I know. So it's just weird, right? But anyway, Jason Isbell, former drive-by truckers, country music star, kind of interesting that he's in here. But he seems to do well, as acting as Bill.
He was good. His couple of scenes were pretty good.
Yeah.
He was like a creepy.
Right,
I thought his character was going to be a little. He seemed like he had depth to him, basically.
Yeah,
There was stuff
agree.
going on in his
I
head.
agree. He actually, comparatively speaking, he seemed to be actually.
He was
creepy.
better than Leo. How about we
Yeah,
say that?
he fucking was.
Yeah, he was.
Right?
This musician who's never acted. I don't know if he's acted before,
Well,
but he's a
I'm sure he has
musician.
been, yeah.
It's better than Leo. Come on.
Yeah.
Fox News. I didn't know Fox News is back.
I saw that.
in the
I
1920s.
like that. Yeah, I kind of like
Yeah.
that, to be honest. That was a good touch.
Was that real? I think that it seemed like this movie's a true story.
I have no idea.
Probably Fox News was around back then. I don't know.
Probably. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it.
Oh, TC didn't mention the bad ADR.
Which ones?
Tell me you noticed it.
Where?
all over the place.
Oh, no,
Oh, really?
I wasn't
I
really.
didn't
Lots
No.
of De Niro lines were ADR'd. I don't know.
Really?
I think
why.
most of the movie was, to be honest.
Well, that
Well,
might
I mean,
explain.
like non-synced
Right,
ADR.
right.
Like
Well, that
bad
might explain why
sync.
De Niro's character felt so weird. Like it felt so ungrounded. Whatever he was doing,
He's so
evil,
old. He's not getting a good audio take and a good visual take in the same time.
So they
with
have
the
to,
time
like,
that they
fix
have.
it
That's my
up.
guess. I don't know.
Maybe he felt like as evil as he is. He felt so insubstantial, which is so weird because this is a really evil character. He should have a whole lot of weight to him, and it feels like there's nothing.
Yeah. Come on, Leo. Just go kill someone for me, huh?
Yeah.
I'm your uncle. It'll be
Come
nice.
on, it'll be
Yeah.
fine.
You don't even see why he's doing it,
Not really.
right? Like, does he get paid a lot? Does he enjoy it? Does the uncle have something over him? Like, why is he fucking killing people for this guy? I don't get it.
Don't
Doesn't
get
make any
it.
sense.
No. There's again. They just do things and react to the things that happen. There's no why in this.
I feel like everything we bring up comes back to the same point. I
Yep.
have no problem with repeating it,
Yep.
but
I know,
so
I
much
know.
of
Just
movie
repeating the
that is
same thing over and over.
I know. That's true.
over
That's
again.
true. But yeah.
So it's yeah.
It's not our fault, TZ. That's the movie's fault because everything that happens in it comes back to the same thing. The De Niro character, De Niro's 80 years old. William Hale, in
80?
reality,
Fuck, he's 80? Holy
80 years
cow.
old.
He does do well for 80, I would say.
So does Marty. Come on, let's give it to Marty. He's 80 fucking one.
Marty's 81 too. I was going to say, for their age, they're doing well. Not that I think that that's good, but speaking for where they're at, all right, good job.
I did notice all the camera moves. I'm like, damn, this old guy's really still just moving the camera around.
He's
I'd
still
be like,
got it.
I'm tired.
Yeah, he knows exactly what to do there.
So he was 80 when he filmed it, and William Hale, the person he was playing in this movie, was 45 when all this was going on.
Okay.
Lily Gladstone, who plays Molly, was 37 when she filmed it, and in reality, she's 30 years old. And Leonardo DiCaprio, who plays Ernest, was 49, and Ernest was 25 in reality. So in reality, Ernest was 5 years younger than Molly, and William Hale was only 45. But then you got Leo at 49, 12 years older than Molly. I think that, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a factor of the unbelievability of their relationship.
Sure,
I think
sure.
they're not like
It would
young
help
and
a
full of
little.
spunk and
Like,
stuff. They're like,
you had a young Leo, it might have worked better.
yeah,
Right.
like a Titanic Leo. Get a little Titanic Leo in there.
Titanic Leo. Yep.
Yeah. So this was the start of the FBI. I didn't get that from the movie.
Oh, I
This
did.
was the first investigation
Well, with
that the
Hoover.
FBI had.
Well, again, yeah, but there's a lot of interesting things that aren't covered. Like apparently, like they had a bunch of people like pose as like an insurance person and all of that. Like they had a whole team that were like that were really FBI, but they were posing as different as playing different roles. And that's what helped them like figure all this stuff out. Like they had one guy who was posing as an insurance guy, but they didn't like really tell that. They had this one scene where they're all meeting out in the middle of nowhere, and that lets you know that there's this group that's coordinating and working together. That's it. We don't understand exactly that this is all going on, and that again might have been when the script was originally about the FBI thing. Maybe they would have like let you know how all of that was put together and what was going on. But we only get like we're like who's this guy? Okay, whatever. I guess they're working together. I guess he's on the side of the FBI. Okay, yeah. Just you sort of have to fill in the gaps there.
Huh.
Yep.
Well, I'm no clearer now than I was before. So.
Fill in the gaps, TC.
Yeah,
Fill in the gaps.
I'll fill in the gaps.
Lily Gladstone almost quit acting. The pandemic started, and she started signing up for data analytics courses online.
Good for her.
And then she got
science.
She got a Zoom invitation from Marty himself for an audition. She auditioned once on Zoom, and she was selected immediately.
He's like, what are you doing? What are you
Because
doing with these numbers? Why are you looking at the numbers? Why are you looking at data? Well, you should be doing this.
Come to my movie.
This.
I'll pay you
doing this movie.
$5,000.
Hey, what are you doing over there? Yeah. Hey, what are you doing tomorrow?
Nice.
Could you come on set? We're all doing it on set. We got Leo there. We got everybody there. Yeah, right.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
She was cast. She was in a movie in 2016 called Certain Woman that Marty saw and was like, yeah. And then the Zoom interview, apparently, like she made good eye contact. She seemed like the kind of eye contact
at the
he
screen.
used. At the screen.
He's like, how do you work this thing? What is it, a camera? I don't know.
But he basically wanted that look that she gives for the first half of the movie, which is kind of like a sad, dead-eyed stare, really.
Yep. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what she gave, and that's what he wanted.
He's like,
Hey, look at that,
if you
it's
could
perfect.
be, a
did.
mannequin, that would be great.
I want you to be. Yeah, I want you to be a
Yeah.
miserable mannequin. I want you to be like
sad
not
mannequin.
do much.
Don't move too much.
Right. I want you to be miserable. I want you to convey
Yeah.
absolute misery because a lot of shit's going to happen. People are just going to die all around you.
Not too sad,
You're
though.
gonna-
Really, not too sad at all.
Not too
What
sad.
do you
But
think
you're
about sweating a lot? You okay with sweating a lot?
Yeah.
Do I actually have to sweat? No, we'll spray it down. We'll spray it down.
No, we'll make
It's
you
good.
look sweaty.
But you got to look like you're sweating, even if you're not sweating.
We got people for that. Don't you worry. We'll
I don't
figure
want
that out. You got a sweat guy. We got two sweat guys, actually.
Nice.
They're professionals. Leo ad-libbed a bunch to a point
God,
where
really?
it bothered both Marty and De Niro. Marty and De
Jesus.
Niro would frequently like look at each other when he was like ad-libbing and just like roll
Like
their
annoyed
eyes.
parents. Yeah, like here
Yep.
we go. $30 million.
De Niro tried to convince Marty to tamper Leo down, but he didn't say why he didn't do it. But I imagine it's because
It's
$30
Leo.
million.
We all know Leo's not going to listen to anyone anyway.
Yeah.
Is there any line of dialogue you can remember? I mean, is there any God, I didn't like listen to any of the things that any of these characters said and thought that was interesting.
Because they were making it up.
Oh, that's a bad criticism right there.
I mean,
think
Three and a
about
half
it, though,
hours
really.
long.
Seriously.
Name one line. Say one line.
Say-
Say one.
Fuck.
There's a really good one. It's hi, I'm Jesse Plemons. I'm with the FBI. That was a pretty good line. I remember that one.
That was good.
Yeah.
You're right. He did that well. But man, that's just funny that Leo's. I mean, again, these guys all got to think that they're playing. Again, I understand why. These are huge parts. These are like Leo is playing a really fucking evil, deep character that you really could do something with. Same as De Niro. There's nothing. No,
There's nothing.
Nothing that Leo said that I can remember. I don't remember any fucking thing he said.
I can't either. I'm trying really hard to think of something. I can't think of one thing that he says. TC, say one thing that he said in the movie.
Wait. I like, what is he?
that.
Something.
Yeah.
So I like women. He was talking about liking women. There were
I
some
like the
lines
big
about
ones. I
liking
like
women.
I like the. I like
Yeah,
the
there you go. Something like that. Maybe that was all ad-libbed. I don't know. He's like, that might be a real Leo there talking through, you know?
So the director of Hereditary, Ari Aster, was credited for the, quote, slow going and a little, just going a little slower and a little quieter is Marty's description of his editing style. And he took both Midsummer and Beau is Afraid, so his the Hereditary guy's second and third movies, pace as like the
Interesting.
main influence for the edit of this movie. So great shout out to a kind of unknown director, but also fucking Ari Aster getting that's the worst part of the movie, and it's his fault. God damn it.
Yeah. Shit. Not like that, Marty. Not like that.
Not like that. You idiot. The Osage Nation was heavily consulted on the script and during the making of, so like that's a very good thing.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong. It's not just necessarily a bunch of white guys, although the writer, director, most of the actors, and a lot of the producers and the people on the casting crew, it's like, it's all kind of white guys,
I walk away from this as a white guy movie. The main characters, as insubstantial as they are still, it's still De Niro and Leo.
I mean, I guess you could kind of look at this like they're still making money off the Native Americans.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, boy.
Lily Gladstone is the first Native American woman to be nominated for Best Actress.
Oh, wow.
Is that something? It's kind of unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Scorsese is now the oldest person to get a Best Director nomination.
This is okay. Yeah, I mean...
The shoot was a 7-month shoot. That's an extremely long time.
Damn.
For a movie.
Really?
Yeah, 7
months? Really? Yeah. Okay. I'll take
most movies are between 30 and 60 days. So 1 and 2 months. 7 months with these sets, with these actors.
Right. Yeah.
The budget kind of makes sense. With this Best Director nomination, Marty is now the second most nominated Best Director in history. And the first is William Wyler with 12. I thought that was a good one.
Yeah,
I thought that was a good one.
Yeah, that was a great one. Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad I know that.
We know
one.
William Wyler, TC. That's what I'm saying. We know we've seen William Wyler because of this podcast.
I know we have.
Let's see. So the last piece of this is multi-thing trivia. Last piece of trivia: Lily Gladstone lost 30 pounds for the scenes where she was sick towards the end of the movie.
Oh.
She lost 16 pounds of that 30 pounds over the last 2 weeks before the shoot.
They got
the same, quote, nutritionist, I don't know if that's what you could call him, from that helped Matthew McConaughey with the Dallas Buyers Club weight loss, if you've seen that movie.
Right.
Same dude. And apparently his expertise in Hollywood is to tell people, eat 2 cups of vegetables a day, and that's it. But you can drink as much wine as you want.
Okay.
Sure. I mean, you're going to be pretty miserable, so you might as well be drunk.
Can you imagine not having any food in your stomach for like a week and then being like, I can drink as much wine as I want?
Yeah.
Be vomiting all over the place. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you vomit because of the wine, you lose weight. Okay, it makes sense. That makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, so she did that, lost 16 pounds in 2 weeks. Pretty unhealthy, but she's not dead, so hey.
No,
I guess
that's good. Maybe it might pay some price
that's
later
the
on.
barometer that you want to live by.
I mean, how is this guy a professional? He has like one trick. I know the trick now. Can I be paid in Hollywood? Right. Come on. Tell famous people to eat 2 cups of vegetables a day.
Hey, it's hard to tell famous people what to do. Come on. It's hard. A lot of people are too scared to do that.
You think it's the convincing that makes this person good?
Yeah. He's maybe that's part of it. Yeah.
It's not the information. It's the, the convincing.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Top 250. 1, 2, 3, go. No.
I don't mind that I saw it.
I'm upset that I saw it.
Oh yeah, okay,
yeah.
I still like with TC. I was kind of engaged and impressed that I was engaged by it.
I was. So
I mean, so that I really was dreading watching this, and I often said to myself, "Wow, I'm still interested in watching this," and I was impressed by that.
I had the thought in my head the entire time that this movie better pay off in some way.
Oh, fuck. And then it gets to that stupid radio show at the end. You got to be like, oh my God.
So by the end, at the end, I was just like, fuck you, movie. You didn't pay off for anything.
That's
fuck
right.
you.
And you have to explain it all to me at the end, and that's not really good.
And you went silly. At the end, you decided to go silly. I think of like the Zootopia. The first scene in Zootopia where they have the little tiger on the xylophone, and they're making the sound effects. That's what I was thinking at the end of this movie. I was like, I got the little guy making the sound effects, like looking at the crowd, going, "Ooh, look what I'm doing." Yeah, that the way bizarre. This movie ended was weird. Mm-hmm. It felt so non-serious. I mean, arguably they're trying to make a point about how this still wasn't taken seriously. And that it's sort of it's upsetting, that it gets turned into a radio drama or whatever. But it didn't work. It felt silly at the end instead of serious, which is like after all.
And it didn't work because the movie before it didn't put the weight into the situation that it needed to for the contrast to happen.
Yeah,
right.
It did. Yeah.
All right.
It's
Well, what are we
still
doing? What are we
interesting
doing
how
next
they
week?
made all those sound effects.
All right, you guys are gonna love me for this.
Wait.
Why?
I also have another suggestion to float out too.
I don't know.
So-
We got a pretty tight schedule coming
I know,
up, John.
but I wanted to say that Nimona was nominated for an animated feature. And
That's true.
that-
But hear me out.
Okay, I will hear you
We
out now.
have
I will
we have
back off
Dune
then.
Part 2 coming out next
Oh
week.
yeah, we got to do that.
Got to do that
That's
in
a
the
must.
theater.
Yep.
That's a must.
Yeah.
Plus, we also want to race to get all of the Best Picture nominees viewed before
Right.
March 10th when they come out.
Okay.
So we still have 2 left to do. So my
What do we got?
suggestion is by next week, maybe we record twice. Maybe we do 2
Fuck
half-an-hour
no.
sessions.
I'm
we
out
watch,
of town all week. I'm
You're out of town
I'm
all
in
week.
trouble. I'm out of town until Monday, so it's going to be a little hard.
Can you
Anyway,
not watch streaming movies when you're out of town?
I know. No, I can't because we're also at these dance competitions where I'm doing a lot of
Oh
work.
yeah, never mind.
We
don't need this.
Anyway,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, we
well,
can still.
so
we can
John,
still,
correct. Figure out how we can do this. So,
Right.
so we want to see Dune when it comes out. We want to post it the week after it comes out. That's
we do.
my
We
thought
do.
there.
We do.
But there's also 2 more movies to watch.
Well, we got
so those
Zone
are
of
2 more
Interest.
episodes and movies, and then there's the recording our ranked Best Picture list.
I know. Right.
thing,
Well, we'll also like not only like we'd have 2 lists, like what we think, who we think will win, and who we'd want to win, like who we think should win versus like who we
Right.
think is actually going to get the Oscar, right? But so
Timing wise, we'd
well,
like. I think we don't have to, but it'd be good to get that out before the
it'd be
Oscars,
good
just
if we
so it's
can.
like
what are you? We got Zone of Interest, and what's the other one?
Maestro.
Maestro or Zone of Interest, huh?
Can I go see
yeah.
Maestro now?
It's on Netflix.
Okay. Well, let maybe we should do Maestro next because I don't know if Zone of Interest is like streaming.
It's streaming.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right. Which one do you want to do?
Both.
I
Is there
feel
only
like
one?
let's do Zone of Interest and then we'll do
Okay.
Maestro after because we've been
All right,
talking
well,
about
let's-
Zone of
let's-
Interest
let's
now
shoot
for a couple weeks
let's-
on the podcast.
Yeah.
So
That's fair. Let's.
why
shoot
don't
for
we
Zone
wrap
of
this up
Interest.
and we can chit chat after? How about that?
All right, fine. But yeah, that's what we'll do next week.
TC's
And
worried
then-
about the edit.
Yeah,
Gotta worry
man,
about the
we're
edit.
like
TC.
we're like
Oh,
5,000 topics
God.
outside of
Sorry.
the ending here.
All right, let's finish it up.
yeah.
Let's go.
I just
All right.
leave these in the podcast. TC.
I
Let
know,
people
but that's
see how
a
the
waste
sausage
of
is
time.
made.
We don't want to have any
Right.
listeners bullshit bogged down with this bullshit.
All right, fine. Now I've seen this. You guys made me watch it. Fuck you.
Yeah,
And
all
now we'll
right.
move
So
on
what
to
are
the
we
next
doing
movie.
next week? We're doing Zone of Interest, right?
Zone of Interest. Yeah.
Zone
All
of
right.
interest.
All right,
All right,
let's go.
And then we'll
boys.
figure it out from there.
All right, sounds good.
All right,
See you
take
later.
care, guys.
Talk to you guys later.